There's no benefit to having a boyfriend because everything that I could possibly need, like all of my needs are already being met, right? So I don't need a man. If I really need something, I can just ask my dad.
The church does not teach Christian women how to date.
Biblically speaking, the Bible says that God created Eve for Adam, not Adam for Eve. So the one God is preparing is you. You have to understand that God prepares you as a woman to come into the life of a man to be a helpmate.
God, Christ, man, woman in the churches are either one already married, gay, or looking for some silly woman to take advantage of.
And I guess he's talking about the black church in America, is 80% women.
So I just came across a video of a creator here on TikTok. I think her name is Mackenzie Taylor. And she was talking about how in her 22 years of life, she's never had a boyfriend and she has no desire to date. And I could relate to everything that she said in that video. Like, no lies were told. But I just want to insert like my 2 cents with like a Christian perspective. Like, I don't know if she's a Christian, but for me, a lot of what she was saying was biblical based, even if she didn't even know it. So similar to her, I grew up in a 2-parent household and my parents' marriage was not perfect, but you know, they did the best that they could. And in addition to that, right, my dad, you know, had a pretty good job. So growing up, we used to travel a lot because he worked in oil. So from a young age, I was already traveling, right? When I was in middle school, I flew first class. You know, I've been to Australia. I've been to different parts of the world. I'm bringing this up because some of the main things that men are using in this generation to manipulate women, like cars, clothes, flights, trips, you can't be manipulated if you've already had access to that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And basically what Mackenzie was saying in her video is that she hasn't met a man that can do for her what she doesn't already do for herself. Does that make sense? Like, there's no benefit to having a boyfriend because everything that I could possibly need, like all of my needs are already being met, right? So I don't need a man that's actually going to hinder me and cause me stress instead of helping and, you know, being a benefit to my life.
This lady just explained the problem with a lot of women in the church, right? Because she's not even, actually she didn't. She's talking about in a modern dating era, right? In this modern dating era, every woman is struggling with the same thing. A lot of women are accomplishing a lot and they're thinking no man can give me anything. And you know what's happening? The same thing is happening in the church. These ladies are going to church going, maybe he will deliver a man that's ready for me. No. He won't deliver a man ready for you. That's not how it works. He doesn't work that way. But let me let her finish.
And I feel her because back in college, I actually fell for the whole boyfriend propaganda. And it was such a waste of time. It was a distraction. Like, the relationship was like emotionally and mentally abusive. Like, there was no benefit of having this man in my life. But I wanted, you know, to have somebody to say, this is my boyfriend and this is my man. But it didn't help me in life. It didn't add anything to my life. And now I'm 24, and by the grace of God, I have my degree from Duke University. I do plan to go back to school as well. I have my own apartment in one of the most expensive cities in the US. I have my own car. I make my own money. And if I really need something, I can just ask my dad. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying this as a woman of God that's considered, you know, high value based off of what people have told me. The main thing that I'm looking for in a man, like the only way I would want to get in a relationship at this point in my life is if the man brings mental, emotional, and spiritual value into my life, because I already have the financial and the physical stuff checked off. You know what I mean? This is honestly free game for the men watching this video. And I want to tie what I'm saying to the story of Jesus and the Samaritan woman at the well. Now, as believers, we know that Jesus wasn't born into wealth and he wasn't wealthy during his time here on earth. He was born in a manger in a stable and he was the son of a carpenter. So Jesus wasn't wealthy, and the Bible doesn't even give an account of his physical appearance. So we don't know if Jesus was like the most attractive man at that time. So I want you guys to keep that context in mind as I read a few verses from the story of the woman at the well. So this is John chapter 4. I think I'm just going to start at verse 13. So Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water." He told her, "Go call your husband and come back." Verse 17, "I have no husband," she replied. Jesus said to her, "You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you have 5 husbands, and the man you have now is not your husband. What you have said is quite true." So what's the revelation here? This Samaritan woman wasn't going to the well solely to get water. She had an internal thirst, internal desire for intimacy. This is why she would go to the well, meet men, and then sleep with them. And, as Christians, we understand once you have, physical intimacy with somebody, you've made a covenant. And this is why Jesus said you have 5 husbands. Or, in this generation, we can say this woman has had 5 boyfriends. But this one encounter with Jesus Christ, again, we don't know if Jesus was the finest man walking the earth and he didn't have any money. He was literally going from city to city, place to place, evangelizing and trusting that God would provide for him, right? So when he encountered this woman at the well, he didn't bring anything financially or even physically. All he brought to the table, or all he brought to the well, was a conversation that spoke to the woman's mind, emotions, and spirit. After this one intimate conversation, the woman's life completely changed. Like, she no longer had that thirst or desire to be with different men and have 5 million boyfriends, because all she needed was a taste of the living water. All she needed was Jesus Christ, right? So I'm saying all of this to say, as women of God, we shouldn't be out here wasting time looking for boyfriends, because at the end of the day, your man of God, your husband, is going to locate you and he will carry the characteristics of Christ. Even Timothy said, "Follow me as I follow Christ," right? So when we talk about submission, right, women submitting to men, why would a woman of God want to submit to you if you can't lead her mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? Like, the main thing is spiritually. If you cannot lead her spiritually, why would we submit to you? Because the money, the finances, like, all of that stuff is going to fade away. Especially if you're a man of God that's trying to pursue a woman of God that has it all together financially. She grew up in a certain lifestyle and she does ministry as well. Like, if she does ministry, like, she has a pretty good spiritual foundation. So as a man, you need to add to that, right? You need to bring value, spiritual value, which is really the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace. And this is what Jesus emulated at the well when he was talking to the Samaritan woman. And this is even tying into the conversation of being equally yoked, right? As Christians, we think that scripture is just talking about, the other.
She said it right there. She was cooking until she said equally yoked. That's a big one. When she means equally yoked, you have to be equal to her. You need to make the same amount of money as her. Yeah, she may make it seem like, I want a man to be spiritual. But then you wouldn't be telling the truth. But actually, you're telling the truth. Once you say equally yoked, I said, yeah, I know what this is. Let's continue.
Single, and this is why there are so many Christian single women at the church, literally single for years, not getting married, not getting any type of dates, not getting any type of attention. While they are serving at church, they're doing all the right things on paper. They might be in great physical shape. They might have their healing journey all, through and through. They're doing the inner work. They're doing all that. They are focused. They are focused on Christ. They've been focused on Christ for years. They have been doing the things that people have been telling them to do for years, yet they're still single, have no candidates, have nobody looking in their direction. Let me tell you something. The church does not teach Christian women how to date. The church does not teach Christian women to date at all. What they tell us to do is to sit with our hands in our laps and to wait for a man to come at our door.
Are you sure about that?
That is not biblically wise. Faith without works is dead, and that applies to every area of our life. If you have a job and you lose that job, are you just going to sit and pray for God to send you a new job and then just stay at home and not apply for a single job? No. If you lose your job, you're going to pray, "Lord, please bless me with another job." Of course, there's the faith. But then after that, you're going to go searching for a job. You're going to be applying for jobs. And you're going to pray that God will bless you with the right job. If all you're doing is sitting at home doing 1,000 prayers for your future spouse, you are fasting, you are praying, you're doing all these other things, but you're not actually putting any practical works into dating, more times than not, you are not going to find your spouse.
Very true. You do need to apply yourself, no matter what it is. You can pray all day, but you have to do things. For instance, I wanted to make content, right? I wanted to make money from making content. I prayed on it, but then I jumped right into action. And voila, here I am. But let's go forward to the next video, because the next video is going to explain the exact problem with women in the church nowadays. because a lot of women ran to church and still no man. This is why.
You're not going to like it, but here's the myth. God is preparing a man for you. Incorrect. Biblically speaking, the Bible says that God created Eve for Adam, not Adam for Eve. I'm going to let you sit on that for a couple seconds. God created Eve for Adam, not Adam for Eve. So the one God is preparing is you. You have to understand that God prepares you as a woman to come into the life of a man, to be a helpmate, to bring value into his life, to be able to allow him and encourage him to do what God has destined for him to do. But as a woman that is unprepared, what happens is instead of allowing the man to do what God has called him to do, you make it all about you. And you want the man to make you his God. It was never planned that way. As a woman, you need to align with your man, and both of you need to serve God, because that is what God ordained, for man and woman to join together and serve God.
Says it right there.
We were made to be helpmeets. The order is God, Christ, man, woman. We're always supposed to go from our father's houses to our husband's houses. Biblically speaking, we are the weaker vessel. We need a hedge of protection. We were never supposed to be independent women. And God loves things decently and in order. It's not the other way around. The man can protect himself. Women, we need help. We were created for one man, not multiple men. That's why a lot of times women are so crazy, because they deal with multiple men, multiple spirits. It's supposed to be one flesh with your husband. Never multiple one-night stands, never multiple boyfriends. One flesh, one husband. Now, you may not like the purpose, but that's why you were created, sis.
Last year, January, God told me that he doesn't want me to go on any more dates. And I really struggled. I really liked going on dates. Like, who didn't like going on dates? A big part of my identity was wrapped up in the fact that men were pursuing me or men wanted to date me.
You know what it was? I believe her. Right? God told her he didn't want her going on any more dates, because she's going to explain it. She was a dinner 304. Like Obsidian would say it all the time. Dinner horse. That was her. Let her explain it.
I realised that although I had a relationship with God, I always had a backup. The backup would always be the man that I was dating. So whenever I was going through like a rough time, I would just turn away from God and turn my attention to a man. And what not dating has taught me, God is enough. He looks after me. It would always be a man looking after me, paying for things for me. I was just like, God, I really miss, I just miss men paying for me. I hate paying for stuff, but God actually looks after me. And I really learned that in the last year. It's crazy.
Don't feel offended when you hear these stories that, yeah, all women that you find at church are second-hand women. We all know that churches are full of women. Some of us were even raised from the church environment. So where were the men? Where are the men? Because even now you find more women in church than men. Men also live their best lives out there, and when they want to settle down and they are worn out, they go to church because they were told that good women are at church. When you want to find a wife, go to church. And even now as a woman, sweetheart, let's say you lived your life out there nicely and now you want to settle down, you go to church. Rest assured, sweetheart, all eyes will be on you because you are fresh meat. All the few men that you find at church, they've been sleeping with all the women that have been at church. And now you are fresh meat. Sooner or later, you hear someone saying, I've had a vision, God telling me that you are going to be my wife.
This focus is not on building families. It's about keeping women single, comfortable, independent. I said what I said. Just look at the numbers. The church is 70 to 80% single women. And the pastor want to sell these women this fairy tale, telling them that your Boaz is coming. Keep waiting, knowing good and well that there isn't any single men in the congregation. And that's low-key manipulation. Because the men aren't flocking to the churches because the churches are catered to women. The sermons shame men and pamper women. The programs be women brunches, women conferences, women's night. The churches know who paid the tithes. It's the women.
Welcome to the new world.
So they selling the women these dreams while cashing their checks. And let's be real, the men that are in the churches are either one, already married, gay, or looking for some silly woman to take advantage of. You gotta ask yourself, if the church is really about family, why is it full of single mothers, single women, and empty of men? Because the black church needs the women single, desperate, and waiting. Because if you had the family that you prayed for, then they wouldn't be able to control you.
That's not it. She got it all wrong. Now, the church doesn't want the black woman single, desperate, and waiting, but they'll benefit from that, right? These guys, these pastors are smart. They think, okay, what do I do to cater to the woman? This is what I do. But that's not it. See, what's happening in the church everywhere is feminism. Feminism happened. Yes, it struck the church as well, to where women, even in the church, as you said, women live a wild life. What do? Go to church. Men live a wild life. What do? Go to church. It does help in that aspect. But if they're coming from the world to church, ding, 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 that's the problem. Don't blame the church. It's just that is what it is. Women need to prepare themselves better. I'll give you guys an example. Yesterday, I saw a woman came into my comments and said, yeah, you talk a lot about black women, don't you? I didn't say anything because obviously you came here because you're offended. Instead of actually watching my video and see what I'm saying, right, and understanding something, learning something, you'd rather point the finger. This is the exact problem.
By the name of Jamal Bryant that made a comment that the black church, and I guess he's talking about the black church in America, is 80% women. And he was talking about how men just aren't showing up in the church. Now, he said it's because the way the church is not really reaching the black men's needs, da, 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 da. He even made a comment that in Islam, the church is attended by 80% black men. And I'm just like, I feel like I feel like he's intentionally leaving out a really, really important factor here. Black men at the church. Black men at the church. I used to go to church, when I used to go to church, and I used to see how the pastors would always play on our emotions as women. And I say our emotions as women because before I became emotionally logical, I was operating totally in emotion. And so you had all these women would be in church, running their hand, crying and weeping, and their men would be sitting there looking at them like, is she serious? Like, it's not that serious. Like, oh my God, she's like literally crying and da, da, da. Men aren't, you're not manipulating them emotionally. And that's what they're doing in the church. So men today are not going to church because they see the manipulation. And I have 3 older brothers. One took his whole family out of church, and it wasn't even a black church. I have my other 2 brothers. They're just not going. You're not doing it. It's a manipulation.
That's the problem. People are doing things based off how they feel, right? Women are going to church based off how they feel. If you say black men are going to Islam, they're going there based on how they feel, not based off the truth. Because to be honest with you, around 80 to 90% of people that go to church do not keep God's commandments. Facts. This is so true, and so many people don't notice it, and so many people will be lost because of it. But that's all I have to say. I'll move on.
Good guy morning text.
Grand Rising, my beautiful black queen. I hope I didn't awake you. I just wanted to let you know you were the first thing on my mind as soon as I woke up. After our date last night, man, I couldn't stop thinking about your beautiful smile.
Versus Hood Nig morning text.
Man, wake your mustache up, dog. Dirt ass, dench ass. Man, go brush your mouth. I know that mouth.
Girl, I was Tyrone, he in the streets, bitch. Yeah, he took me out. It was exciting. There's the excitement side, but then there's always, if this doesn't work out with Tyrone, I have a story where Tyrone was the one that did me wrong.
I stink, dog. I know. Oh, I can smell it over here, man. So listen, man, hit me up when you wake the out. My fat.
I can spoil you. You can have any. You can go to Paris tomorrow morning. You say yeah. Yeah.
The wild thing, and I can't take this away from ladies, they know exactly what it is. They know. They knew this guy from the start because this happens a lot in the community, right? Look what they said. He aggressively lying. Meanwhile, his wife is somewhere watching him go viral. That's true. This man probably does have a wife watching him go viral, and he don't know about the internet. He's just having fun, but what is he doing? He's doing the same thing that the other guy was doing, right? That guy that was the hood dude, what? Like, he's being funny. Of course he's not doing that. What did he get out of them? He got a reaction, right? What did I show yesterday? When it showed about the white guy talking about red pill, he was getting a reaction from the woman. It's not that they want hood dudes. It's just that they want guys that give them reactions, right? But that's why he has a wife. Women, they know. Meanwhile, his wife is watching him go viral. Unc crashing out. Girl, he got a wife at home. They all know.
I love that. I love that. I love that they're objectifying a man.
How old are you again? Are you really dipping your steak in ketchup?
Yeah. Right here, this is so messed up. The man is enjoying his meal, cutting his steak, dipping it in ketchup. Now, I understand you think if he would have had A1 steak sauce, that would have been more proper. But so many people love ketchup. A lot of people do this. I don't do it, but so what, he does that. The man took you out on a date and you're judging him. This is why a lot of men have given up, right? Because look at this. The man is enjoying his date. He spent money on this date. You're enjoying it. You're getting TikTok content. How dare you? Some nerve, right?
So let me get this straight. This man decides to take this woman on a date, plan a date, in the stages of freaking courting her, and her main focus is to make a video for TikTok. And you actually had the audacity to make a video about how this man eats his steak and the fact that he eats it with ketchup, and basically want to exploit your entire experience with said person instead of getting to know him for internet clout. Y'all come on this app all day long and cry about how men don't do anymore, how men don't put in effort, and all they do is the bare minimum, and unless a man is taking you to Greece, y'all consider it the bare minimum. And I can almost guarantee you that this chick was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great post, this is going to be great. Like, let that man eat. And y'all can't understand why these men don't want anything to do with any of these modern day women that want to claim to be good women.
She said it. Why men don't want anything to do with any of these modern day women that claim to be good women and date you. That's what they're doing. And that's why guys are not going to the church, because women are claiming to be good women, but they still have no man. Why? Because they're not good women. This is why men are jumping on these planes and going overseas. I'm telling you guys, every video is a passport, bro. But it is. It all leads back to it. I knew this. I'm 44 years old. I'll be 45 next year, but I'll be 50 soon. I seen it all. I was raised by the old school, and so I'm kind of qualified to raise the new school. But I've known this for the longest time. For the longest time. Oh, for the longest time.
All you want to do is use men for dates, money, and exploit
Dates guys online for free food.
them for freaking content so you can be viral or internet famous at the expense of somebody else who wanted to do something nice for you. And you don't think it's mentally ill to have your camera set up kind of secretly to record someone and the way that they eat their steak. You don't think it's weird to also secretly record somebody that you're supposed to be getting to know, and then you can't understand why later on he wants nothing to do with you, and then you're probably going to come on the internet and cry about where did all the good men go, or oh my god, he's a narcissist, blah blah blah, all this to be in your victimhood, even though you perpetuate the cycle by doing this talk in the first place. Okay, bye.
Every time she does a video, okay, bye. I think that's Sarah Eaton, right? Shout out to her. But dead wrong. Dead wrong. And you know what? These are the women that are in the church. She's probably a frequent churchgoer. And let's move on. Let's move on.
Women want to have all this freedom to do whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you please. You want to change your hair? Great. Throw on a lace front. You want to, wear a particular outfit? Nobody's supposed to tell you if it's inappropriate or if you're supposed to wear different attire for a particular event. Nobody is supposed to have standards or values that you disagree with and then they say anything to you about it. That is crazy to me because for the most opinionated group, women, so opinionated about everything. You don't want anyone else's opinion. It doesn't make any sense that you are quick to tell men how they are not masculine, how they are not alpha, how they are not this, they are not tall enough, they are not that. But a man is not supposed to have an opinion or express one. Quote, you should know better than to talk about a woman's hair. Saying a particular thing is not attractive to you is not talking about a woman's hair. A man has the right to say he likes long hair or he doesn't like long hair. He likes brunettes or he doesn't like brunettes. Just like women, everyone is entitled to a preference, and you not fitting in that preference doesn't somehow make it toxic for a man to say it. If you have opinions, and you do, if you share those opinions, and you do, if you're asking for opinions, and you do, then you can't exactly filter what someone says. Don't have to like it, don't have to agree with it, but they have a right to say it. Isn't that the point?
Right, she struck a nerve, and that nerve was my nerve. I'm not mad though, and that's why I brought that up. That's why the woman decided to come to my comments and do that. Oh, you talk a lot about black women. Yeah, I do, because I'm black. That's why. I'm black. Yeah. You know what? I love black women. My mother's a black woman. My family's all black women. I have a deep love for black women. My son is from a black woman. Yeah, I'm qualified. Right? And that's what happened. She came on my comments like, you sure do talk a lot about black women. I'm like, of course I do. The way things are, I've seen the community go down the dumps. I saw it all. I think the Father above, that my mother had a head on her shoulders. And she raised me to be a good black man. And she knew to be with a black man to raise me. She's the reason I had a father growing up. Yes, I love black women. But I don't love this. They do this all the time, man. But yeah, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Peace out. See you next video.
Answer's coming.